Anyone who can, please. Please confirm if you can hear me, Mutia.
Good evening. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to our fellowship this evening. This is Rotary Jabali, a family of friends who come together to network, exchange ideas, grow their friendship circles, grow their professional circles, and also pull their resources together to serve different communities. Rotary Jabali is a newly formed Rotary Club comprising of youthful professionals from different fields, some of whom have been in the Rotary family through Rotaract for a couple of years and decided to transition to Rotary. And while they were transitioning, they brought in more friends to make the family even bigger. Tonight, we are hosting our Assistant Governor, AG, Assistant Governor Shiru Kinuthia. We shall explain a little bit more of what or who an AG is and what the role is about. So sit tight, get your favorite midweek drink, be comfortable, and enjoy our fellowship for the next 1 hour or so. We have a tendency of extending to 1 hour 15 minutes or 1 hour 20 minutes. So start with the Rotary protocols, and if you will allow me, I think it has been a while since we played the national anthem. So start with the national anthem, then the Rotary protocols. Fantastic. We'll then have the Rotary protocols. I'll share my screen and then invite a number of our members to take us through. So I request Ben Kimani to take us through the grace, and Sawe to take us through the 4-way test, and Victoria Gaia to take us through the object of Rotary. So Ben Kimani, you go first.
Okay. Rotary grace. O Lord and giver of all that is good, we thank thee for our daily food. May Rotary friends and Rotary ways help us serve thee all our days. Amen.
Thank you, Ben. The 4-way test. Sawe, you can hear us? Sergeant.
Yes. So the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Sawe. And the object of Rotary, Victoria.
The object of Rotary is to encourage and foster the ideal of service as a basis of worthy enterprise, and in particular to encourage and foster the development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service, high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life, and the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Ben, Sawe, and Vicky for taking us through that. I welcome everyone to our fellowship tonight, just to see if we are present or we turned on to Zoom and ran away. If you can, please turn on your video. We have a tendency of picking on those who don't have their videos on. So the more, those who have their videos are safe, not to participate in talking. Those who turn off their videos, you might be called severally in the fellowship. So please turn on your video. If it's a bad hair day, the sergeant at arms will do his work. Good to see you, Sawe. Good to see you, Victor. Good to see you, AG. For the first time, Mutia is not the first one to turn on his video. Mutia, please confirm your location tonight. Good to see you, Ben. Good to see you, Vicky. Ben, just to be noting down those who their videos are off and you know them. Valentine, Chris, Molly, Priska, we're waiting to see where you are tonight. I hope you're all at home safely. If you're traveling, just ensure your phone is not snatched. This is Nairobi. Okay, so just before we have our speaker, it's good to hear some of us. So you randomly pick on those who are missing in the last fellowship or two, and also invite first-time guests to say hello and introduce themselves to the group. So I think the person I've not seen for a while is Sawe. At least I've not seen Sawe in our meetings for a minute. So Sawe, and your +1 in your hands, you could say hello. I'm also not sure I've seen Margaret for a minute in our meeting. So Sawe, Margaret, Gakeni, and Valentine could go round one. Then you'll have 2 rounds and then our guest speaker. So Sawe, and the 3 people in your camera.
Okay, so hi everyone. This is little Zoe. She's called Zoe Netai. Just say hi, Baba. So hi everyone. Dama is also here. Maybe she can say hi. Hi. Thank you.
Thank you, Sawe and Dama. Good to see you, and little baby. Next, Margaret, then Valentine, then Gakeni. Okay, Ben, be looking for Margaret since she's away. Valentine.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. I'm also okay. I'm not in a position to put my camera on, but I'm happy to be here tonight. Looking forward to hear from AG Shiru.
Thank you, Valentine. Gekeni.
Well, sorry. Hi, SK. Hi, everyone. I hope you are all well. Also, I'm also not in a position to turn on my video, so I'll just be speaking behind the screen since. So, yes, I'm also looking forward to today's fellowship, and I hope you are all well. And greetings from Taveta.
Thank you, Gekeni. Greetings from Nairobi. Okay, let's pray. Have some more people. I had seen someone who's okay. Let's have pray a few guests. Just tell us your name, who invited you to this meeting, or how you knew of this meeting, and what you do professionally. So name, who invited you to our meeting this evening, and what you do professionally. So let me pick on a few guests. Emma Chege, I think it's your first time here. Florence Kamau, I think it's also your first time with us. Alice Jeroge, and Wangari Kimotho. So Emma, Florence, Alice, and Wangari.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wangari Kimotho from Nyeri. I got an invite from Shiro, and I'm excited. I can't wait to hear from her. Thank you.
Thank you, Wangari. You missed to tell us what you do professionally.
Variwa.
Okay, well, welcome to our fellowship.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Emma Chege, and I was invited by Shiro. I'm a friend, an old friend of hers, and I'm a living benefits specialist.
Thank you, Emma, and welcome to our fellowship. Florence.
Thank you, Samuel. I'm Florence. I work in management. I was invited by Margaret, who's a friend to Samuel. So a connection of a connection. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, karibu Florence. Alice.
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I've been invited by Shiru Kinuthia. We are old friends. We go a long way back with Emma. And yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm working in the healthcare industry. I am based in the United States. Thank you. And I'll be off camera because I'm at work.
Okay, thank you, Alice, for joining. And probably the last team before we have our guest speaker. Gathua Moher, are you in a position to say hello? Gathua, then President Sophia, Grace Wanjao, and finally, looking for someone who hasn't said hello for a while.
Hello, good evening. This is Gathua Moher, joining you from Turkana. I'm well, and it's a pleasure to join this meeting today. Thank you.
Welcome, Gathua. We are happy that there is internet in Turkana. President Sophia.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, yeah, I'm Sophia Mwakia, President, Rotaract Club of Boy, friend of Jabali. My classification is food nutrition and dietetics, currently practicing as a clinical nutritionist. I'm so happy to be here for this fellowship. Thank you.
Thank you, President Sophia, and welcome. Grace Wanjao, and then Mabi Nolai will close for us.
Okay, hi everyone. Happy to be here. It's been a while. Yeah, it's also one of those days when I'm happy where I am at this network. So I was like, I might as well join in today. So yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace, and welcome back. Don't run away too much.
Asante.
Marvin, you could close for us the introduction session.
Thank you, SK. Hello, everyone, Rotarians, guests. Greetings from myself. I'm Marvin Olayo, and happy to be here with the team. It's been a minute, so it's my pleasure that I've been able to join you guys today. Thank you, SK.
Fantastic. Thank you, Marvin. So now go to our guest speaker of the evening. Clearly, some people have been away and probably have just come back to hear from our guest speaker. So thank you, everyone. Just ensure you record your attendance with us on the link sent by Mutia in the chat. If you remember, it's just one click. If you're a guest, please you leave your name, what you do, your contacts, and you'll be getting updates of our club events as and when they happen. So to introduce our guest speaker tonight is our speaker secretary, Daktari Elvis Karaya. Over to you, Elvis.
Hello, thank you, SK. Good evening, everyone. I have heard someone who's also at work. I am still at work, so will not be able to join my video. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, we can hear you, Elvis.
Fantastic. So this evening, as you've heard, my name is Elvis Karaya. My classification is in medicine. I'm a medical doctor. It's a pleasure this evening to host AG Shiru. Now, when SK told me I'd be introducing Shiru, I felt really privileged because I know her for quite a while. She's one of the first few people I met in Rotary when I joined Rotaract at the University of Nairobi. She was actually president of my mother club at the time. And she really influenced the type of Rotarian I am today, and I owe her quite a lot. So having her speak to us this evening is quite a privilege. So there are many things I could say about AG Shiru, but I'll say three things so that you can remember. One, she is a very fun and loving person. I have enjoyed her company, and I believe everyone who's met her really enjoys her company. She is a dedicated Rotarian. Rotary really is at the heart of her as a person, and I think that's what she's going to be speaking to us about. And a final thing I would like you to remember about Rotarian Shiru is you need to meet her physically. We meet virtually, and she has an energy to her that permeates. She just makes you feel nice about everything. So please make sure in your lifetime, if you've not met her, you do. And we will organize. It's a pleasure to have her as our AG, because then it becomes closer to reality that we get to meet her in person. And we hope we do so soon. Professionally, she works at Oracle. She's been a Rotarian at Rotary Club of Nairobi North, where she is past president. And she is currently our AG. So I'm hoping you're clapping and where you are standing for this phenomenal woman. Please allow me to welcome AG Shiru to speak to us. Karibu sana.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karaya, for that introduction. Thank you to President Sam for the invitation. Thank you to Jabali at large for having me here today. And this is an unusual welcome. In other clubs, I've attended the club assembly first before I am the speaker. So thank you for having me as a speaker tonight. Allow me to recognize those that have flagged me into this meeting today that are not Rotarians. Emma, dialing in from Austin. Alice from Massachusetts, my very own
sister by the other mother, Wangari from Nyeri. And Karaya, you need to get a hold of Wangari because she's becoming a very slippery prospective Rotarian, and try and encourage her to join a club. So as you've been told, my name is Shiru Kinuthia. I want to be allowed to project because I have just a short conversation with us all today about my journey in Rotary and where I've been. SK, you're not new to me. We've journeyed together in the corridors of Rotary from you being a Rotaractor, and I'm grateful for the graduation into Rotary. So if you don't mind, I would like to be given the rights to share my screen.
Yes, you can share your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, lovely. So as you've been told, my name is Shiru Kinuthia. To those that have known me before, they know me by very many other names. And I'm grateful to be here today to just share my journey as a Rotarian. I joined Rotary Club of Nairobi North in 2004 under the invitation of past President Ezekiel Wanjama, who invited me to what was supposed to be a lunch. And in this lunch, when I joined, nothing prepared me for the people that were at the table. And at the point, I felt extremely small. I felt very unworthy of the invite. As a matter of fact, I remember I did not have my lunch as such because I was awed by the presence of the people that were in the room. And it was only when we were serving lunch that I asked my sponsor, so to say. So for those who are not Rotarians, don't take it badly. Sponsors are those who invite you to the Fellowship of Rotary. And I asked him, what exactly am I supposed to add in terms of value to this team? And he asked me why. And I said, the demographic in terms of age was quite daunting. You know, I was sitting in the midst of people that I'd only seen in media, the likes of Mutula Kilonzo, then who was Cabinet Minister for Justice. And I was sitting in the presence of the likes of Her Highness Mombingogi, who is a High Court judge today. And it was quite a daunting task. And I asked myself, what exactly would I be bringing to the table? And unknown to me, somebody tapped my shoulder and asked my sponsor, can you have your guest sit with me? And as I was having food, my sponsor asked me, Jane, do you know who that is? And I said, no. And he said, that is Gashui. That is the late Gashui, the owner of Trans-Century. And the guy who convinced the rest of us that you can actually privatize public, what we see as public, very public investments, such as the Kenya Railway. And when I sat with Gashui was very camera shy. To date, I think you see his children and his family are as well. So we knew the name, but we didn't know the person behind it. And sitting next to him, the one thing he told me was, Jane, at this table, and I go back to the 4-way test, at this table, I am mandated to tell you the truth. And I am mandated to help build better friendships and bring goodwill to all. But when I cross that door, you're gonna have too many gatekeepers before you can get to me, which was very true. Getting to the likes of Mutula, who are members of my club, the likes of Paul Ndongo of the Paul Ndongo Report was quite something. But at the table of Rotary, I was a learner at the feet of many years, many man-hours of experience that consolidate together to bring goodwill and impact to fellow Kenyans. And that began my journey as a Rotarian to date. I've served as next generation chair in my club for about 5 years. I've served secretary, I've served foundation chair. And last year and this year, I'm serving as assistant governor. This year, I have the pleasure of shepherding Central 15. Central 15 covers 4 clubs, that's Magharibi, Jabali, Industrial Area, and Syokimau. And it's an absolute pleasure to be a part of your fellowship as you begin your journey within Rotary. So today I want to address the heart of Rotary. And as I talk about the heart of Rotary, allow me to journey every so often into what my experience has been within Rotary and why I continue to be very passionate that Rotary is the place to be. So before I joined Rotary, I was very keen to find an arm through which I could serve the Kenyan community, and especially those of the villages that I had come from. And if you are a Kenyan child, like I am a Kenyan child, you crossed many counties and experienced very different and diverse cultural differences as you grew up. And the question was, how exactly do I bring impact back in a structured way to the people that had shaped and made me who I am today? And when I stumbled across Rotary, it was probably the best arm for me. So for those that are not Rotarians, allow me to walk you through. I'll do a bit of who we are, what we do, what are my current reflections. And in a call we've just come out from with our incoming president-elect, I'll talk about a little bit about partnerships, because alone we can't do it, but together I know we're stronger. So for those that are not Rotarians and those that are maybe older Rotarians that need reminding, we're not exactly a small organization. We probably form across the world the largest service-oriented organization with in excess of 1.4 million people that are members. And all of these people are leaders, they are problem solvers in their various capacities. They bring amazing professions to fore for the impact of communities that we serve. So many of you may ask, and those that are new, I know to my friends when I attended RI, I met Emma and Alice, and they were happy to fly into a central place where we could meet and commune as people who shared a vision back in high school and went through university together. And I shared a little bit about what Rotary does. But this year, amazingly, this organization that was started in 1905 is 117 years old, having branched into as many countries and blessing and impacting citizenry across several continents. So when people ask us, what exactly do we do? And when as I walk through this one, I want Jabali to say to you, you're the newest kids on the block. And we do have a tendency, especially in the current structure of things, to forget what is the core. Why did we join Rotary? For those that are joining Rotary from being Rotaractors or from being interactors, why are we Rotarians? First and foremost, we create networks, we build each other, our professions come to fore, and they interact to help us grow and to network and to be better people in our workplaces, in our families, and in the communities that we interact with. Having said that, I need each one of us to ask themselves a question, especially if you're a Rotarian, because I think as AG, I get elevated to a level where I see the different formats and the different shapes and demographics different clubs are taking, including the one that I personally come from. The demographic of Rotarians is changing. We are younger. Yes, I want to admit we are younger. We have more energy, but even as we have all of those, we have more resources, but we also have more challenges to deal with. So the question I ask Jabali specifically, and those that are from visiting clubs that are Rotarians, is what brings you to Rotary? And I hope it's not the swallow ship. And I hope it's not the fun trips. And I hope it's not the road trips. I am praying that even as you do the road trips and you do the swallow ships, that you remember the core reasons as to why we congregate as Rotarians. And we're bound globally by these several areas of service. So within Rotary, we promote peace. And our incoming president has just told us that peace is not the absence of war, but it is the presence of basic amenities for humanity. Can we be able to avail water? Can we be able to avail proper sanitation? Is there food? Because without those things, there will be some sort of conflict, there will be some sort of war going on within our communities. That which we see in the larger picture, that is Ukraine and Russia notwithstanding, in our various regions, we see quite a bit of conflict and sometimes get caught up in that very same conflict. This morning, I was having a conversation with somebody that I totally don't know, but I reached out to them because I saw they are heading into Marsabit, where they were going to issue foodstuffs to starving Kenyans. And it's amazing how the hand of giving kind of spreads. I could see quite a number. When I told her I was a Rotarian, she said, oh, we actually have a good number of Rotarians in the meeting today. So your calling as a person should attach to at least one of these as you join Rotary. We fight diseases, and you'll see the view that I have of how serious we are about fighting diseases across different geographies. Now, understandably, that different continents will have different challenges. And in our area, in our district 9212, which consists of Eritrea, South Sudan, Kenya, and Ethiopia, we have our own core areas that we want to target. I ask each one of us, because we come from a community, what is plaguing a community that you know, and what are you doing about it? As a Rotarian with a reach of 1.4 million other Rotarians that are willing to stand out to be counted to eradicate disease. We provide clean water and sanitation and hygiene. And this covers all communities, and especially where we talk about hygiene, we're very careful to support the girl child in ensuring that their hygiene situation does not keep them out of school, but instead they're able to attend school like every other child. In most clubs, Jabali, you will find that this is a common pillar across our district. Almost every club will have a project that they're doing around water. The project that you see highlighted here, this is a project being done by Rotary Club of Madaraka. This project is on the 11th president. For those joining Rotary, every year we have a new president. We cannot fight for power. You cannot decide you're staying on. Your tenure is as much as 12 months. And in every year we have in attendance the president, the current president, the president-elect, and the president nominee. This project is on the 11th president. And while they're doing this project, they've probably covered most of this. They've started out a school, they've started out greenhouses so that these families can feed. They have started out a chicken farming project. And what has happened is, while as this was such a small area of focus, now a lot of other parents are buying land closer to this project so that their children can benefit from the water, from the food, from the school. And this is the kind of impact that we look at, that we don't do projects that are only SK based, and once SK is no longer president, that project dies. The new president needs to take on, run with it, ensure that it is impactful to the end. Notably, for 12 months, we can't quite do much. We also do projects within the Save Mothers and Children. This is really the cradle of mankind, and if we do not protect this area, a lot of our deserving communities really suffer around this. We support education. I think this has been a pillar again that is very common. Water and education is very common across most of our most of our clubs. And then we grow local economies. We encourage every club to not take a singular pillar project, but to attempt to have a case study and analysis where a project scales across at least 3 verticals to ensure that it is sustainable. For those that are new to Rotary, we attempt to not take projects to communities, but we allow the projects to bring the projects to us. And that way we make sure that there's ownership, there's sustainability, and the longer short of it is impactful to the team. I've told this story many times that we did do a project in a county where we thought women were really struggling, spending, walking 20 kilometers to just come back with the 20-liter mtungi of water. And we did a good project. We bought water tanks, and they were like, I think we did almost 100 plus 5,000-liter water tanks. And when we revisited the project afterwards, the one thing that pretty much shocked us was that the women were still doing the 20-kilometer walk. And we were like, wow, what did we miss? Do you guys not have water in the tank? Is it that there has been no rain? And they looked at us and they said, no, there is nothing wrong with the tanks. We are actually exceedingly happy that you guys gave us the tanks. But guess what? This is the day when we catch up with the village gossip, which is a Saturday morning. So you can imagine how, yes, we met a need, but we had kind of miscalculated a part of why they actually do this walk. This is when they catch up with each other. This is when the mothers take time to support the younger ones, the newly married ones, those that are having challenges. This is when they have time to commune and find solutions for their own communities. So we attempt to not bring down projects to our communities, but we allow them to own them. That way, even if it's a distance, we can be assured that that project will be sustainable. Last year, immediate past District Governor Alex was driving us to ensure that we plant 1 million trees to recover that which has been badly bit in our environment. And most of the clubs actually did that. Now, together, this is not done singularly, but just Rotary, we spread our wings to cover the teaching institutions, which are pretty much the best engine for us to have a sustainable environment in schools. We reach out to government, we reach out to NGOs to make sure that this is a sustainable conversation. So, Walt Disney did say that the way to get started is to quit talking about doing things and begin actually doing them. And when I joined Rotary, the first thing that, the first person who gave me an office without being elected or without even vying for it was past District Governor Eric Kimani. And as I joined, I actually did not pay my dues, I think, for the first 8 months. Until much later when I was able to comfortably say, okay, now I think I can handle being a Rotarian. But before that, before I even paid my dues, I was secretary of the club. And the one thing he told me is, if you're not busy, then Rotary is not for you. So you need to be a busy individual, because all of those people that we can see here and in the 1.4 million are professionals in their own right, and therefore their 9 to 5 beacons to them with a bit of an urgency beyond the community call, but they have a heart for service. And that's why we've ended up being the largest service organ in the world. How do we do this? We give of ourselves, we give of our resources. We whip out our begging bowls when we need to, when communities need us. We will reach out to partner to ensure that the projects are done. How serious are we in doing this? Now, I want us to very keenly look at the summary that I've given. This is not obviously the conclusive one. Every year we have made progress. Now, for those new to Rotary and wondering why is polio a big thing? For Rotary, this is our flagship project. When polio first showed up in the US. I think I seem to forget the year, but I think it was 1894 when the first outbreak was seen in the US, in Vermont specifically. 18 people died and 132 cases were reported. And the journey began to try and see whether we could muscle and harness this particular disease, because it spread very quickly. Before they figured that it was a transmissible disease, it had affected quite a number of Americans and beyond other continents. So we started out the journey. Now, I just want to capture the 28 last years. If you look at this journey right here, you can see the dark shades are all the countries that had polio present as of 1994. Progress to 1997, you can see the elimination in the larger part of Russia and the Obu than anything. Polio had really been tackled fairly well and was largely still left significantly in Africa. I talk about Africa because this was the turning point for Africa. If you look at 1994, we still had just one country looking clear, but you can see the progression in Africa begins to affect us. So this project stops being an international project and comes closer home. In the year 2000, we were covering North Africa fairly well and very closely coming into the Central Africa region. As of 2012, we had only Nigeria having any live and active cases of polio. And in 2020, we were declared by WHO and certified as a polio-free Africa. Now, this is significant because polio is crippling. Polio does take quite a lot of resources and energy of not just individuals, but any nation and any government will struggle to get rid of these diseases, both in humans and in our drainage system. So when we say we're serious about doing this, this is how serious we are. For those that have attended or not attended RI, it always gives me goosebumps every time I attend RI and you hear the people that are supporting us to ensure that polio is eradicated. The champions that we have, I think a few years ago, those that are wrestling fans know one John Cena. We know him in a small little brief as he wrestles in a small ring that is barely 5 meters apart. But John Cena is one of our champions across the world in ensuring that we raise money to eradicate polio. And he gives of himself and of his networks to ensure that we contribute to the eradication of this disease. What are you doing as an individual, as a part of Jabali or far beyond, to ensure that we continually keep this disease not just out of our own families, but also in our drains, because it exists in the drains. So for those wondering what exactly do we do, that really is a brief summary of the larger part of it. What is my reflection as I joined Rotary? One, I think I was quite taken by the four-way test. And I'll probably start bottom up. This is speaking directly to SK and your team. Governance has become a big part of District 9212 and the world beyond. The reason it's become a big part is because as individuals, we failed to make each other accountable when the four-way test is concerned. And if you don't have the four-way test in your workplace in front of your desk, you need to print one and put it out there. Remind people that integrity is important, not just in your workplace, but not just in Rotary, but in everything else that you do. And the four-way test, for those that are new to Rotary, is very simple. We look at attending to issues with all fairness and in all truth. We look at attempting to build goodwill and better friendships and actually making sure that we do. And then we also look at, is it beneficial to all concerned? If you just take these 4 different aspects of what we do as Rotary, it really begins to ingrain your commitment to Rotary. Now, my first order of business, obviously, having come into a club that was a little bit aged, we are 54 years this year, and I served as the 50th president, which was an absolute honor. The first level of commitment for us to do the things that we do as Rotarians is that we must pay our dues. So club dues are not negotiable. If you've been inducted as a Rotarian, it is how we are able to afford the vaccinations. It's how we are able to give the grants, the matching grants that we give. It's how we are able to give the district grants that we're able to give. So for all intent and purpose, membership chair, please encourage your members to ensure that they make sure that they pay their commitment fees annually. Personally, I'm looking at SK. I don't know whether you have any PHFs in the house.
Yes, we have 5 PHFs and 1 coming up.
So first time PHFs?
Yes, 6.
Okay, fantastic. Now, I think that's a beautiful place to start. For those that may not be familiar with that, that's a Paul Harris Feller PHF. It means that, status. It means if you're a PHF 1, that you've given a minimum of $1,000 to Rotary. I'm grateful this year. I'm going to be making PHF ×3 and hoping that next year I can do PHF ×4. And my target is probably in the next 5 years that I can make major donor. Why? Because we know where our money goes. We can account for every single penny that we give. So for those that are not Rotarians, we also do take donations. If you go to My Rotary, that money does come back to all the projects that every country or every district has put out. What else did I learn in my reflections? Remember, I've joined a club with very seasoned professionals. I became part of the first committee that investigated politically inclined Rotarian out of misappropriations of CDF funds. And this was such a big thing to my club because it was all over the media. And I thank my club for instilling in me the discipline that I needed to be able to cadence every other member of my club by the same measure, that it is not about how high up you are in the ladder, that you can be overlooked in terms of your commitment to Rotary and your integrity level. And just going through that investigation and finally telling the Rotarian, we do find you culpable, not because you took any of the monies, but because you are charged by the government and by the citizenry to look after these monies. And yes, there is a bleed in your constituency that you've not looked after. So for a period, I remember, and looking back today, I wish many of this were looked after, because we find other senior Rotarians or younger Rotarians being seen in the media in the very negative light. And I remember this member coming out and handing back his pin and being told, please clean up your stuff and then you can be allowed back to the club. And I remember the district governor, Steve, then was, when Uganda used to be part of our district, came over to our club and talked to the club about, how exactly do you manage matters governance and how do you bring back your members? And that brings me back to my bottom item again, governance. That's to the extent that we have governance issues being brought up at district level, it means that the very many of us are failing at the 4-way test and we're not keeping each other honest. And it's our responsibility to keep each other honest, because we voluntarily joined Rotary and not been forced to join Rotary. The other thing that I've also learned is networks. The late Gashui made a comment at that table that I carried through with me through very many years of my career. And he said, at this table, you will have a master's degree of every member, but it will take you being present, being available to be taught by that particular member, because they are mandated to tell you the truth at this table. And he said, you don't need to have a degree in engineering when we're having a water project. You don't need to have a master's degree in education when we're doing an education pillar project, because all of that skill is available around here. Now, those networks have come to be true for me. In Rotary, you're not just a member of Jabali. You're not just a member of District 9212. You're a global citizen. I have traveled a lot in my career in the East African space. And a lot of times, because of the work that I do, where we need to take our customers out for centers of excellence experiences, I've traveled out. And the one thing that I always do is I measure the temperature of a nation, the economy of a nation, through my Rotary pin. I will search the closest club near me, and I'll try and attend a club before I attend a customer meeting, because at that level, I can ask the questions that I need to ask about the nation and the economy. And in most cases, I have not been failed. I tell of a story where I landed in a strange country that I've never been. It's Slovenia, and the capital is Ljubljana. And just walking through the reception, there was this huge Rotary wheel. And when I asked, is there a Rotary Club that meets here? This young man looked at his watch and he said, they're meeting now. So I abandoned my bags, and as I left, my crew of 9 looked at me and they were like, why are you abandoning us? And I'm like, I have to go for a Rotary meeting. And they're like, okay, so can we come? And I said, sure. And we walked in. You can imagine we were 10 very dark individuals in a country where everybody is literally, if you've ever thought about white, because I think because of how cold Ljubljana can be, we experienced it in the next 3 days. We walked into a meeting to a very shocked congregation until they saw my pin, and there was smiles all over. We got a standing ovation, and we became guests of Rotary for the entire stay that we were in Ljubljana for 5 nights. We ate at a Michelin restaurant every night. And I got amazing, amazing contacts for projects that I was struggling to complete from my district. That is how powerful Rotary becomes. That is an amazing mix of a local network, your international network, your global experience, just coming to bear to deliver for you. Now, allow me to talk a little bit about global experience on the basis of RI conference in Houston. RI is where Rotary happens. DCA is our district assembly, and it is as exciting. This year it's in Addis Ababa, an amazing destination. I've looked after that region for past 10 years. I think it's going to be a very, very, very exciting conference. But this year in Houston, something happened. On day 1 of my arriving at the conference, I met these 2 ladies as I walked through the door of my hotel, and I had my tag, and one of them read my tag and said, "You're from Kenya?" And I said, "Yes." Said, "We don't have a student from Kenya." And I asked, "What do you mean you don't have a student from Kenya?" And she just said, "You know, visit us at this booth in the House on Friendship." So the House on Friendship is where every other club that has a project that they need to showcase, where they need to partner, they need to tell the world what they're doing and spread the word, they will come and showcase their projects. So 2 days later, just before we closed the conference, I chose to go out and visit these 2 beautiful Israeli women. And we had an interesting conversation. The long and short of that is I discovered that these 2 women are in Rotary International to sign an MOU with Rotary under our peace pillar, and they run a school in Israel where the Palestinians and the Hebrews are in the same class because they have strongly come to believe the old adage that hate is not inborn, it is taught. And they're bringing up these two sets of children from very diverse backgrounds to see what they can change with a new demographic of believers in these two communities that have feuded over the years. And their ask was, Jane, we are gonna give you 4 slots for 4 students to come from Kenya, fully funded scholarships. And this is students that are in the age of 14. They will do their 14, 15, 16 in Israel, and they will most possibly proceed into universities that will be fully funded just by virtue of being in this school. I don't think you can imagine my excitement. As I left Houston, I did not have a single student in mind, but I thank God that Nairobi North has a network of almost 70 students, 70 schools through our Books and Beyond project. And I'm happy to report that the 4 students have been identified. They've done their first round of interviews. And we're hoping that in the next coming year, by September next year, that they will be in class celebrating this union that only Rotary can bring. These are children who are from Kilifi, Malindi, the heart of Mount Kenya, where Kieni area, where really you're talking about the conversation of whether we are putting 2 meals a day on the table or are you going to go to school. But in these very areas, we have amazing, amazing brains that deserve to be sitting in Israel in this class. That's how powerful Rotary is. Again, you have to be present as a Rotarian to have a hand in all of this because you can't do it alone. It's a collaboration of very many angles coming together, very many people, very many faiths, very many needs coming together and ensuring that we change one citizen at a time, irrespective of who it is. So we don't get to do this alone. Our incoming president has just told us that if you want to go fast, you can go alone. But if you want to go really far, you have to go together. Jabali, you're a young child. The foundation that this team lays now determines whether Jabali is gonna see the 54 years plus, for instance, that my club has been in formation, whether Jabali is gonna survive the 117 years to date that we have as Rotarians. And the question is, how do you nurture your membership? How do you ensure that those that come in to Jabali see the true spirit of Rotary, because you have to be the representation of it. I will share a little bit about a club that I will not name names, and I'm sure some of you know them, transition from Rotaract to Rotary. There's a way a club remains with the face of Rotaract because that's what you've grown up knowing. The transition into Rotary takes a bigger responsibility because you must carry the pillars, all the pillars that we talk about one season in your lifetime. It may not be the same every year, but you have to find your center. And when you get in members, I'm excited to see that we have 37 members listening to me today. And assume they all became Rotarians. I would say create a buddy system. Right now, you're an online club. And Karaya is right when he says that I'm energized for physical presence. And I'm looking forward for when we have an actual physical fellowship. I would task you, SK, to do one of those bush breakfasts where we do a good 10, 20-kilometer walk and then come back and have breakfast and fellowship and talk about what are we going to do different in the different aspects of our club. Now, For the members, allow me to say you're led by an exceptional team. They have years of experience in Rotary, but they cannot be everywhere. They rely on you to go out and find a partner. They rely on you to spend time on My Rotary and find out what can we do with Global Partnerships of Education. This is an organization that has supported Kenyan students over time. What can we do with Peace Corps? Remember, our incoming president has said that peace is not the absence of war, but we have so many other moving parts in our communities that will cause, maybe not a full-fledged war like Ukraine and Russia, but there is conflict and there is lack of peace. And where there is lack of peace, children don't go to school. Mothers struggle to bring up their kids. There's drunkenness. Today, we're talking about a heightened level of mental illness. And that's the one thing that I've had our incoming president say, that we need to reach out and understand where can we change that, so that when we talk about peace, it's holistic. We're talking about not just peace in the fact that there is no war, but peace in the sense that we have a citizenry that is well capable of taking care of themselves. So from a Rotary perspective, we have key MOUs with the organizations that I have listed, Global Partnership of Education, Peace Corps, Habitat for Humanity, Institute for Economics and Peace. These people measure temperatures of the economy and figure, in most cases, the likelihood of war, give you sound warnings on what to look out for, how to mitigate some of these risks to ensure that communities are not at risk. Mediators Beyond Borders, they don't just mediate at times of war, they mediate in basics. I remember even in Kirkau, we had a bit of a conflict because all of a sudden we have a community that has water and they're saying we own this project because we are the ones who brought Rotary and you guys are not entitled. And just finding a way to disseminate that message that, you know, we can all have this water and it can all be collectively useful to all of us, requires some level of mediation skills. And yet within our teams, especially when you're coming from Rotaract, we have a lot of young people looking for further education. Most of these organizations allow you to have scholarships, whether they are partial, whether they are full, whether they have a stipend. It's really you as a club to define who do you want to support to ensure that your footprint of Interact to Rotary transitions continues to grow. Okay, and on top of that, these are the MOUs signed internationally. Locally, how much can we do? The picture below is a photograph taken very recently in September. We ran a tree planting day in conjunction on the service week that in September with the Lions and MP Shah Hospital. And this was the beginning of what we think is going to be an amazing run. During RI again, I stumbled across the announcement that in September, we're going to have a joint fellowship week that was either going to be with the Kiwanis, the Optimists, the Lions, and jointly with the Rotarians. And I reached out to one of the directors who sits on one of the board meetings with me, and I said, do you think we can do something here? And he said, Jane, please come back, we can do this. And let me tell you how Rotary is amazing. On my final run with Rotary Club of Utumishi, where I served as AG last year, when I was handing over the club to the new AG, the guest speaker was Rotarian from Rotary Club of Jalanga in India. And he's a cosmetic surgeon. He came out and he said, guys, I do surgery on children, whether it is burns, whether it is cleft, whether it is cleft lip or palate, any manner of deformities, these hands can fix them. And I am free for you guys to call me out for a camp. And I grabbed Dr. Mehta and I called Dr. Manoj, who's the chair of MP Shah Hospital, and I asked this to two gentlemen, what can we do? Out of it, we birthed what is now the district project of Smile. We're planning to do, to begin a journey of doing 40 cleft lip and cleft palate surgeries. And interestingly, this has given birth to a diabetes camp that's going to come this month. We're going to do cataract eye screening. We're going to do breast cancer evaluations. We're going to plant trees. We've joined hands with Old Books for New Eyes to support primary schools that are looking to build a reading culture with storybooks for children below the ages of 10 years old. We've partnered with people like Longhorn, who are also telling us if you buy books worth X, we're going to try and fund you double that amount of books to ensure that our children have the proper reading materials in their schools. So partnerships are there. Individually, we work for organizations. Can we task the organizations that we have as part of their CSR to support some of the initiatives that we're running in Jabali? From an Oracle perspective, where I work, they're running with the tree planting, they're running with the diabetes clinic. And just the other day, Lion said we are collecting eyeglasses for recycle for children who really struggle with their eyes, and buying a frame becomes quite expensive. So they're happy for you guys to give back your frames. And when I sent it in the Oracle group, I was just amazed by how many sets of glasses that I received. So you can imagine what the impact is. Can I do it alone? No. If you ask me to deliver the single box of glasses, I can't. But together with well-wishers, and if you become the evangelist of Rotary, our impact is larger, our impact is felt. That which we walk out and we hear people say that we're a strange lot. I've seen, and I remember asking SK to share with me a clip that was doing the rounds that were being compared to another sect of teams. You need to be the evangelist of what we do, the good we deliver, the impact it has on the Kenyans or Ethiopians or Eritreans or South Sudanese or even beyond internationally as Rotary. This week, we are all doing, most clubs are doing hand wash projects. This is just, and it's interesting that we get into COVID while we have Rotary running every year, we run hand wash projects within schools. Just reminding everybody that it is important to keep your hygiene. USAID supports us largely in every one of these solutions. So in a nutshell, what do I want to say? That Rotary is your individual journey. It is not your committee or your board this year. It is what you bring to it. From a very early situation, I was thrown into the deep end by the management that I found in Nairobi North. Somehow, I am grateful that they did, because I learned the hard way. But I had to very quickly do a turnaround and look like a Rotarian. And back then, finding information as we have today. Today, we have my Rotary. So a lot of the tools that we need are really at hand. Back then, it's somebody giving you a book this large, paperwork that old, and you needed to acclimatize and figure what exactly, when you talk about the Rotary Foundation, what exactly is that? And today we have a lot of information. What I would say is make it your individual journey to understand the verticals of Rotary that you can play in. You don't need to be in the board. You don't need to compete with the board projects. But individually, there are projects we may never know about until you bring them out to us. I know, I think if Wangari is still on the call, there's many situations me and her get faced with. We go hunting for wheelchairs for people that we may not even know. And there are clubs that give these wheelchairs. We go looking for prosthetics for people who've had accidents in farming activities that have lost their limbs and they need replacements. And they wouldn't know where to look otherwise if we weren't there to listen and to take their problems and give it a voice. So the question is, what are you as a Rotarian or an aspiring Rotarian doing individually? Because then collectively, we will have not walked alone, but we will have walked far together. So my challenge to you is find a spot within Rotary, execute it without supervision, because that is what, even in our workplaces, that is what we do. But most of all, ensure that it is impactful, it is relatable to the people that you give, and that one, if you do nothing else, that you stand to be counted on behalf of another human being. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, AG. What a talk. I do not think there's anything that we can add. I was just thinking through the whole presentation, and there is so much to learn. I think I've listened to you 2 times before. There's a time you trained us at USIU, you may remember, and I've listened to you speak at another club.
Yeah.
That this has encompassed so much, even as one who has been in the Rotary family for a while.
Mm-hmm.
This was such a good reminder of what Rotary is and what brings each one of us to Rotary.
Yeah.
And I think the tougher question is, have you found your spot? Are you finding your spot? Are you doing something about it without supervision?
Yes, I have.
And there's so many projects that we can do globally, locally. Very, very well put presentation. I'm not sure there's a question I have. So we'll allow 2-3 questions or comments. William, I think this is William Thiongo, says, beautiful. Grace Wanjao, community engagement is key for the success of any community. That's in the response to the water tank project. I love the passion Jane brings to projects. Love being part of the book drive last year. That is from Kisoso. Okay, I think we'll take 2 or 3 questions or comments. Please raise your hand, or you can put it on chat and I'll read it out for you.
Mm. Allow me to maybe mention at large Jenny's comment. And Jenny, thank you so much for joining us. Jenny is in charge of our volunteer structure within St. John's Ambulance, where I serve as the chair of emergency and training. And she is responsible for, in her young shoulders, she is responsible for about 27,000 volunteers across the country. And when we first said that we wanted to do a book drive for a couple schools in Kenny, Jenny stood up and she said, I'm going to run with a book drive within St. John's. And ideally what we were doing was just enabling a box that people can come and drop the books that their kids have either outgrown or have read already and will not read again. And she did an amazing job. When I went to pick the books, I was surprised that I had thought I was just going to come and pick one book. I ended up, my back seat flat out to carry all the books that Jenny had managed to collect. And she continues to stay a strong supporter, because I think between St. John's and Rotary, we do very similar things. She continues to support Rotary. And I would honestly urge you, where you need where you're doing any one of these projects, please pair them up with St. John's. They have maybe a larger network of young people on the ground that we can partner with, that know our machinani maybe better than we do. And she is a great resource.
Thank you, AG Shiro. Elvis says he was a member of St. John's while in high school.
Return back.
The idea that has been taken up very quickly by our family of Rotary team is the bush breakfast. We're already looking at a date for the bush breakfast, so be sure it shall happen, and you shall get an invite very, very soon.
Thank
you. Okay, last call for questions or comments. Okay. I think our members are fully convinced. But I think I'm not sure if I'm speaking for many or I'm speaking for myself only. In the haze of activity and when you're running around doing all that we should within the Rotary circle, sometimes we forget what actually brought each one of us to Rotary. And such talks serve the purpose of bringing us back to, let me use this term, what was the first attraction to Rotary? Service above self, networking, growth. And I think that has been well answered this evening. So ladies and gentlemen, members and friends of our Rotary Jabali, please help me appreciate our AG for joining us this evening. Let's see those reactions on the chat. You can put your hands together. You see the button on the bottom of your screen. Thank you very much, AG. I think this was a timely invite. It's just that time when we are ensuring we get our dues right for December. So that was a timely reminder for all our members. And I think also to give credit to our members, though we are young in the Rotary family, I think we've taken good and very consistent steps ever since we started the club. And I promise we're on the right track. And as you journey with us this year, please put us to task and ensure we do right as per what is required by our district, and we remain true to Rotary service above self. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you for the time. We look forward to many more interactions, and I think I can confidently say the next one for our club will be the bush breakfast. Asante sana.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly look forward to shepherding you through this year. But confidence. You're standing on the shoulders of giants who've been there, done that, and I have absolutely no doubt that you will succeed. A task to you, SK, is I refuse to go to Project Smile with nothing from Jabali. So task your members to make sure that they support a child. We have currently raised 600,000. We're looking to raise 1 million, so we're short 400K. And that has forced us to push the dates out further until we can get the money in. The Lions are above us with 100K. MP Shah has given 1.7 million and has taken up the aftercare of all the patients. So task your members to get out their begging bowls and see if we can help, at least within my cluster, that we can try and help close the gap. Each child is costing us 150,000 shillings to do. And I'm just excited. When you see the patients that are being screened, I'm really excited that there's a child that's going to be able to go to school and no longer be hidden by their parents. There's a child that's going to be able to eat and not drool and not be fed with a bottle or find their food being mashed. They can go back to being normal children to play with others without being chastised by their friends and family. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll definitely work on that. Please, could you tell us the date for the project, or what's the target by when we should have them out?
So in today's meeting, we're agreeing to convene again by Friday this week because the surgeries were supposed to begin on the 17th. Dr. Mehta was set out to come out, but we had a bit of a complication where 13 of the patients did not make it through the screening. So we want to move it to a later date, and that date will be communicated most possibly by Monday of next week after we have the joint meeting on Friday.
Okay, that's well noted. Asante sana, AG, and thank you so very much for spending your evening with us this Wednesday. Members and friends, allow us 10 more minutes just to conclude on the agendas of the day. The reason we say 7:45 to 9-ish p.m. is sometimes these conversations get too good and it's hard to just stop this conversation. So allow us 10 more minutes. We'll be done by 9:30. So we have our next virtual fellowship in 2 weeks' time on Wednesday, 26th. We'll be hosting Rotarian Protas Lumiti, past president of the Rotary Club of Karen, and also the chair of the District Rotary Foundation Committee. Shall be speaking to us about the Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation is the engine behind the many projects that Rotary does. And as AG Shiro asked earlier, each one of us, whether a Rotarian, a guest, we have the obligation to contribute and support the Rotary Foundation, because it's those funds that we contribute to the foundation that go into projects right here in our country and across the world. Just to give one statistic, in Kenya currently, there are about 113 Rotary Foundation funded projects. 113, 114, I'm not sure. To the tune of over 1 billion Kenya shillings in ongoing projects. So you can imagine the impact Rotary clubs are having in communities supported by the Rotary Foundation. And as a new club, we want to ensure we get it right as we start understanding the Rotary Foundation, contributing to the Rotary Foundation, and also getting grants, district grants, global grants from the Rotary Foundation. Our projects team is already working on qualification for the club to get grants. Number of our members are already giving to the Rotary Foundation. We have 6 PHFs currently, and a lot more members who are givers to the foundation. But we want to discuss a lot more about the Rotary Foundation on 26th. So please don't miss our next fellowship. And then thereafter, on 9th of November, we'll have a club assembly, which is members only, to discuss in-house matters with all our club members. We are currently a 43-member club. So we have 43 charter members, and we look forward to inducting a lot more. So as we welcome members, we just ensure that our current members are in good standing. That's why we have a club assembly on 9th of November. So those two are virtual, but we have a lot of physical activities also coming up. I had requested the membership team to allow me to put buddy groups on the spot, but due to time, I'll push that to the next meeting. But I think you also had AG Shiro advise us to form buddy groups. So we've already formed our first buddy groups, 8 groups, divided our members into 8 buddy groups. And we encourage each buddy group to meet 2 times within the next month, within October and November. The meeting has to be physical. So all buddy groups all buddy group meetups have to be physical, and encourage all your members in the group to show up. Our buddy group had a barbecue last Saturday at one of our members hosted us, Anthony. So we've already held our first meeting, and we are now planning our second meeting as a buddy group. You get to interact, you choose your day, you choose your time, choose your venue, choose the activity. You can link up two buddy groups. That's all to you, for you to make a choice. So anytime, just report back to the membership chair, Terrell, so that we ensure we are all doing something. And the next few meetings will be run by buddy groups. So be expecting a call to request your buddy group to run our next two meetings. That is the Rotary Foundation meeting and the next one after the club assembly. Then next 2 Sundays, we have 2 walks. Sunday 23rd, End Polio for Good Rotary Walk. End Polio is Rotary's greatest project to date. And I also think one of the most successful projects across the world. We are eradicating a disease, and Rotary is determined that we shall not stop until polio is fully eradicated. So World Polio Day is Monday 24th. So the polio walk is on Sunday 23rd at the Arboretum from 8 a.m. I'll circulate the poster to our groups and you'll see it on socials in the coming days. We are also participating in the Stanchart Marathon. Stanchart Marathon needs no introduction. It's an annual event. And the bank, Stanchart, has invited our club to partner in the walk. You have seen the post already circulating. The walk is on 30th. Registration is for the walk, 3,000 bob before Sunday. So if you're willing and available to participate in either of the walks, for Stanchart, contact Ben after you make your payment. And for the End Polio walk, we'll communicate the contact person and we'll definitely meet at the Arboretum on 23rd in the morning. Finally, these are the posters to the 2 events. End Polio on 23rd and Stanchart Marathon on the 30th. So you have 2 activities over the next few Sundays. And let's ensure Rotary Jabali is fully represented in both. And finally, the last bit of AG Shiru's presentation was to request each one of us to engage, find your spot, and do it without supervision. I must say that was my favorite part of the presentation. Find your spot and do it without supervision. And as a club, we work through our committees and subcommittees. The board just approves what the committees propose. And the committees are run by directors. We have several directors in each of the committees. The committees meet monthly or bi-monthly, depending on the schedule of activities. We have the membership committee, whose role is to ensure we are listening to our members, we are attracting members, we are retaining members, we have fun activities, we are connecting as a family of Rotary. So the membership committee has a couple of subcommittees, which one of them is the Family of Rotary subcommittee. So if you wish to join the membership committee, contact Emmanuel Terrell. Goes without saying, he's the noisiest person in our WhatsApp groups. And if you see him, he has energy for 365 days. So Terrell is the chair of the membership committee. Then we have the public image committee. They help us in communication. They are the people who send out the emails, update our socials, update our website, and ensure we are communicating to our members and also our guests. Sam Mutia Mule is the boss on that. He does very good work together with the team. And finally, the projects and fundraising committee, designing our projects, building partnerships, designing how we fundraise. And that team is led by Kennedy Macau. And they are also running a couple of subcommittees, one of them which is planning the Stanchart Marathon. So each of this in the committees and subcommittees, that's where the work goes on, and people contribute. You bring your ideas, you find your spot, and you do it without supervision. And I think that's all. Oh, one more is global experience and global networks. The district conference, May next year, 11th to 14th. I think in the last 2 weeks in the members group, we've communicated and talked a lot about the DCA, and also Melbourne, 27th to 31st of May next year. And this is an opportunity for each one of us to experience Rotary at regional and international level. Should you wish to attend any of the two, contact myself or Antoine or Eva Kaburu. They are our On2 DCA, On2 RI directors and also international service directors. With that said, our Sergeant at Arms, Ben Kimani, over to you for the SAA session.
Perfect. Thank you, SK. And thank you, Madam Shiru, for the insightful talk. It was really important. So for the SAA, this is where we give our happy and sad dollars. These are funds that, again, go back to the club, either administration kitty or to fund many of the projects that both SK and our AG has shared with us. So today, a bit slightly different. So in the spirit of being a proud Rotarian, if this now goes, it's two-part series. I'll start with part one with fines. If you are a Rotarian, a full Rotarian, and you haven't won your badge for the whole of pin or badge, kindly submit a fine of $1 and the FOIA test, is it true? So for this week, for any, this goes for the Rotarians, full Rotarians. If you haven't won your badge or pin for this whole week, raise your hand and find yourself. Oh my God, you're all good people. Okay. Okay.
The till number is on the chat so that I can stop presenting and see people who have no pins. Ben, back to you.
Yes. That does not apply wearing when I've said it. So, but yeah, I saw yours before the meeting. That's why I'm not finding you. Okay, that's good. That means everybody wore a pin this week, huh? That's very nice. Priska goes with happy dollars, 5 happies for the presentation from the AG. So if everyone wrote a pin, then we go to the second part of where now anyone can come in and tell us something, anything. How was your week? What was the best moment of the week? What unpleasant thing has happened to you this week? Share with us. As you have heard, we have many professions. Yes, and you can even tell us what you do. We have 15 happies from AG Shiru. Thank you very much. You can raise your hand. You can unmute, and we hear your voice.
Benny, they could go next.
Yeah.
Five happy dollars for this fellowship, hosting our AG. I think we did look forward to being assigned an AG, and it's a privilege to have AG Shiru as our first AG as a club. We look forward to your guidance and working with you, not only this year, but the many years that Rotary Jabali shall grow and be of impact to our communities and our members. And also happy for all our members who joined in today and our guests. Looking forward to seeing you soon, virtually, but more so, hopefully, physically. Asanteni sana.
Thanks, SK. We have 2 more happies from Molly. We have other 5 happies from Chris for the amazing presentation by the AG, and also for the hike that happened last week. For those who have no clue, Jabali had a hike last week, which was pretty amazing. We have 1 happy from Antoine for the meeting, and 1 happy for him seeing the AG one more time.
Now, SA Ben.
Yes.
I need you to find SK.
Definitely. Do I even need a reason?
No, you need a reason so that he doesn't do it again. Eh?
Okay.
The president's dollars are always premium dollars and they come last. But kimbelembele yake ameingia huko mbele, so please find him on my behalf before the bush breakfast. And the next time agoje.
I'll pay the fine. I'll happily pay the fine.
Sir, Mr. President. Okay, 1 more minute. Actually, have a minute. We close on this so that I can hand it over back to the presidency. We have 5 happies from Motia as well. 5 happies from Sawe. That's for the great presentation and a great start of the Tuesday of the week. No one was happy the week is short. I was expecting such happies for a shorter week. Okay. Okay, I think I'm done. Thank you all. Oh, wait, the chats were loading slowly. We have 3 happies. Okay, 3 happies from Jacinta. We have 2 happies from Melissa, and we have 3 happies from Kennedy as well. That's all from me, SK. For those who are still sending, you can still put them on the chat. We will record them. SK, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you everyone for joining us for tonight's fellowship. It is 9:37. We've really pushed the 9-ish thing, but thank you for your time. Thank you for your contributions. I hope each one of us has learned so much, taken notes, and will practice what we've learned today. And that will make us better Rotarians, more impactful Rotarians. And definitely in 10, 20 years, 30 years, we'll be looking back and our hearts will be full for the work we've done through Rotary Jabali and through each one of us in our communities, across the world, in our families, and the impact we've had in each other. So I hope this fellowship and the 2 hours this evening were worthwhile. Thank you very much, AG, for joining us. Thank you to all our members. If it's your first time with us, please leave your contacts in the link in the chat. We'll be letting you know of all our activities. And definitely now our first induction ceremony is around the corner. So we look forward to welcoming more members into the family of Rotary Jabali. Asanteni sana. And I'll close by recognizing the Rotary and Rotaract clubs present this evening. Thank you very much to the Rotary Club of Nairobi North. Thank you very much to the Rotaract Club of Voi. I'm not sure I've seen any other club. And thank you very much to all the members and friends of Rotary Jabali. Let's give a final toast to Rotary. Put your right hand across your chest, or if you're having your favorite midweek drink, raise your glass, and let's give a toast to Rotary and Rotaract the world over.
Rotary and Rotaract the world over.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and see you very soon.